Yeah, I was sick that day in third grade also.
Okay, oh my goodness.
Sorry, I should have told you.
All right. All right, it's 7 p.m., Tuesday, June 28th, 2022, and I now call to order the 2099th regular meeting of the City of College Place City Council. Will the clerk please take roll call?
Councilmember Jessup. Councilmember Peterson.
Present.
Councilmember Cleveland.
Present.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
And Councilmember, excuse me, Boyle, Sherman, and Espinoza have requested to be excused. We do just barely have a quorum.
We have a-
We're good to go.
Yeah,
Michael's on the screen, so we got four.
Right.
okay,
Thank you, Michael.
3 in person, 1 virtual.
all right. Then will you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. It's now time for public comment. Lisa, did anyone submit a comment in advance?
No, they did not.
Okay, if anyone in actual or virtual attendance would like to speak, please raise your hand. If you're on the phone, *9 will raise your hand.
Seeing hand raised.
Consent agenda, which consists of the agenda for tonight, June 28th, 2022. The council minutes from June 14th, 2022. The financial policy update. The May 2022 check register and financials, and excuse the absences of Councilmember Boyle, Sherman, and Espinosa. Are there any items any member of the council would like to move from the consent agenda at this time? All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of the consent agenda. Councilmember Williams.
Second, Peterson.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it, and the motion is passed. I still need to say all opposed when all four. All right, presentations. We have 2 presentations tonight, and the first one is Ms. Courtney Fuller will present on the College Place Prevention Coalition. Ms. Fuller, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Want to share your screen, or do you want me to share your presentation?
I can share my screen. That's fine. Just fine. Are you ready for me?
Yes.
We are.
If I can remember how to share my screen, that'll be really good.
Button at the bottom.
Mhm. Why does it always appear so different when you're in different places? Oh, there it is. Right in green, you mean that one? The one that's like highlighted, it says here, over here, it's me.
Sure.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Well, hi everyone. Now I have to figure out how to do this again too. Also, you can't really see me because my background is really dark, but I am Courtney Fuller, and I now work for the Walla Walla County Department of Community Health, and I am the project coordinator for the College Place Prevention Coalition. And I wanted to give just a little bit. Has anybody, well, a few of you have heard of the College Place Prevention Coalition. Has anybody not heard of us? Oh, I put you all on the spot. Okay, well, we have some little updates. So College Place Prevention Coalition is underneath the Division of Behavioral Health and Recovery. on DBHR and also under the Healthcare Association. And in 2011, the DBHR launched CPWI to provide substance abuse prevention services and strategies through local conditions in high-need communities, AKA rural communities like us. Currently, there are about 100 communities in all counties in Washington State and in all 9 educational service departments, or excuse me, districts. They're mostly school-based models and community models, so really partnering with the schools and partnering with community members. CPWI focuses on building healthy and safe community environments, expanding qualitative and quality preventive services in clinical, community, and school settings, empowering people to make healthy choices, and eliminating health disparities. Through the years from 2011 to 2016, and even now, everything shows that prevention really and truly does work. There are over 60 evidence-based prevention programs and policies that have been shown through rigorous research to prevent substance use problems. And between 2011 and 2016, there were, communities in cohort 1 showed improvements in all family and community risk factors. Evaluation results also showed significant decreases in 10th grade substance use. These are from 2016. So I want to make sure that you know that I know that this is older data. It was what was presented to us at the time, and I'll kind of come back to that in a little bit. So in 2016, they found that alcohol use and binge drinking was down 42%, cigarette use was down 49%, and marijuana use was down 11%. And then 95% of programs implemented between July 2015 and 16 had positive results in delaying first use of alcohol, opioids, cocaine, marijuana, tobacco, all of it. There are now 7 cohorts, and so wanted to kind of lead into that a little bit. Krista Tim, if you may know her already, started as an intern with Walla Walla County Department of Community Health in 2020. And she started really learning with the state prevention managers of the Healthcare Authority. And then she said, I want to go work with the best person ever in prevention. Who's this? Peggy Needham. So Krista joined Reach Out. She joined the county essentially from not here. So she moved over just to work with Peggy. And with that has reached out to lots of people in the community and built a very successful beginning of a coalition. So then she was able to apply for a grant with HCA and DBHR. And she was really starting to work on building capacity within College Place. And a few of you also know you're very, very ready. You're super excited to have new things and have money coming into College Place. So the coalition formed in June of 2020, and Krista pulled together a bunch of you, and there were a bunch of key decision makers brought in. And we were actually given $220,000 in July of 2021, and that lasts until March of 2023. There is a possibility right now for well, it looks like it just got renewed. So we will actually be getting more money in 2023, we hope. It looks very, very promising, and also getting more money in September of this year to put towards College Place programs as well. So the College Place Prevention Coalition mission, moving from CPWI into College Place, is that we are here to decrease substance use through education and through empowering our community to make healthy decisions. We have 12 sectors that are represented, and those include, and I know you can read, so I'm not going to list them all for you, but they include a lot of different people, right? We've got people from Trilogy, and we have people from the county, and we have people from City Council, and we have people from Spectrum, and we have people from Sager and from Fresh Lime and from the police department. So we have a bunch of different people all around, and we are trying really hard to be really diverse and really inclusive and make sure that these sectors aren't all of it. So whom else can we include? And I'm sorry, I keep looking down to your left because you guys are all on my left. So really trying to figure out how other people that we can coordinate and collaborate with to make things happen. So currently that's our list of some of them. I'm going to skip our old slide in here on data points Other than just to let you know that this is from 2018 and it still looks like alcohol and drug use is trending downward. And I received this handy dandy lovely report in my inbox this morning saying that, again, numbers are going down. That being said, it's rural Washington versus non-rural. And it appears that, for example, youth marijuana was higher in rural Washington communities compared to non-rural, in that rural Washington, 10% of 10th graders currently use marijuana. And that is much higher than non-rural communities at 7%. So I'm wondering how much more information will come out with this, and then I get to update slides for us all. It does show that things are higher in rural communities than non-rural, and it does also show that things are trending downward. And also a large caveat is that we don't have a lot of survey information, since there haven't been a lot of kids in classes on school campuses, which is normally where they take like the healthy youth survey. So we don't have a lot of information on that, unfortunately. So getting into our strategic plan and our logic model, our action plan, what are we doing? And I promise you, I won't take very long on this. Our top priorities are any underage alcohol use, any vaping use, whether it be nicotine or marijuana, any opioid or prescription use. These are not only our top priorities, but they're also the state's top priorities. So we get to include them no matter what we do. With that, through data and looking at the Healthy Youth Survey and our data book from Walla Walla and discussing this with lots of different people in the coalition, we came up with our 5 top conditions, our goals. So number 1 is community disorganization, which I know sounds a little bit funny. It's not that the community is disorganized. It's just that we always can be more ready to learn more about alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. And so I think the community is really ready for that. Now it's really organizing the coalition, the key leaders, our stakeholders, the community to really join in and make it an organized coalition. The second one is alcohol availability, mostly through social access. The third one is community laws and norms and the youth perception of enforcement of laws and policies around alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. Favorable attitudes towards the problem behavior, meaning that a lot of our youth don't really think it's all that bad for them. And then also attitudes of family management practices. So how can we strengthen core family groups or family entities, and how can we make everybody feel good about where they are and offer positive reinforcements? So some strategies and plans with that are for the community disorganization. We are doing coalition work. And we have meetings monthly, and we are starting to actually get some things going. So I'm really excited. I came into the position in January and took over for Krista and had no clue what I was doing. And I wrote a strategic plan that took me forever. So now we're at least here, and now I get to make moves, which I'm really excited about. So looking at how the College Place Prevention Coalition can support all of the work to be done in College Place. Alcohol availability, we're looking at, starts with 1, we're looking at positive community norms, more like how can we, instead of saying 20% of youth do drugs, maybe it's 8% of youth don't do drugs. So how can we look at that narrative just a little bit differently? In partnership, collaboration with Blue Zones and the Youth Marijuana Program, which is now Krista, we've all been working on smoke-free public events and spaces. So now a lot of the parks and farmers markets and things are smoke-free and also vape-free. Looking at the perception of harm, part of that comes from the student assistance professional, which is in Sager, and she works with children or youth who are at risk or potentially at risk. And then the last one on there is that we are hoping to implement Strengthening Families, which you may have heard about, a great program for family management, which has been in the Walla Walla, city of Walla Walla, county of Walla Walla for a while now. So a couple of things in what we're doing going forward. We're doing community fun days. I hope we did one in February, and I'm just trying to get them approved via budget and action plan now. The community fun days are meant to be a nice time to just get to know each other, to bond with each other, to really bring the community together and offer just a safe place to be. So I'm hoping that that will come back. We are currently doing a ton of outreach events. So block parties, we've done it Valley Lindo quite frequently. We've done some fairs. We're at the Thursday farmers market with Lisa and Sherry. Woohoo! Thank you, ladies. And then drug take back, and we have the school assistance professional, and then working with all of our other partners. Campaigns that we hope you'll start seeing soon are things like positive community norms. Start talking now. I have that on there twice. So we really hope to do that program. Teen Link, under the influence of you, and you can. So positive community norms is really, really, really huge. So we're going to try and do little positive messaging first, as opposed to just kind of diving into this huge, massive campaign. And then also looking, we've heard from the coalition and from others that they would like trainings, people would like trainings on general ATOD, but also specifically on opioids, specifically on marijuana, specifically around diversity and inclusion and equity, specifically around data analysis, and just basic understanding of how do I read a data book and what do I understand from it. And then also on stigma. So looking at bringing some trainings in over the summer and in the near future, so next 6 months for sure. If there are any trainings you can think of that you would like, please let me know. It's open. I'm open to not just youth, but college place. So I do want to mention, like, it's CPWI and CPPC tend to be youth focused, but I also want to make sure that we're all included. Prevention is all of us, not just like 10 to 14, 10 to 18 years old. So if there are trainings that you think would behoove us as a community and yourselves that are in relation to prevention, just reach out. I'd love to collaborate on those as well. And I'm not going to bore you with our logic model. This is pretty much what I just went over, but I thought I'd give you some fun color in there, and haha, there it is. And that's it. So yay. So the biggest things are really that we are just trying to partner with as many people as we can. We are trying to collaborate to make it a safer, funner, I know funner is a good word, place to be. And I'm really hoping that we can get as many youth involved as possible, because they're the ones who say, I'm bored here. There is nothing to do here. All my friends smoke pot. I'll go into the hills. So my question to them is, well, what do you want? What do you want here? What would make you feel more comfortable? What fills your heart and your soul? What kinds of things can we bring here? Not just training on drugs and alcohol, but how can we bring other things in that really support our youth and become really protective factors? So that is what I have for now. If you have any questions, you're always free to contact me. Information's on the screen, but I'm also accessible via the Department of Community Health pretty much anytime.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller. Does anyone have any questions or comments from the floor? Ms. Williams?
I am so excited that you're doing this. I think this is great.
Thanks.
But one of the things, well, but I want to know more about a certain part, this shouldn't happen. My kids are off at college now, but when they were growing up here, it seemed like between the age you get to drive and the age that you could go to bars, there's no place to go.
Yep.
So like, if you go out to a movie on Saturday night, the only place that's open after that you can go to if you're under 21 is Sherry's.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I don't know if they're still talking about that, but it just seems to me like if we can figure out places where they can go, it would be huge.
I absolutely agree. And I was actually thinking on my ride between work and coming home, we were focusing on this age group of middle school, which is great. By all means, it's great. Why have I'm in this wonderful new position, and I have been told, here's the age group by nobody in particular, but just kind of by everybody. And now I'm thinking on my way home today, nobody ever said it has to be concentrated on, 6th to 10th grade. That's just what our Healthy Youth Survey concentrates on. So I'm going to re-ask some questions or ask some better questions as I get into this more too. We do have information from SAMHSA and from NIDA and from the DOH and from us about college age, prevention and what we can do. And then I think what you said, what do they want? Can we give them a space? And that's kind of where I come from is, if we can find out and offer some ideas to the youth of maybe these are some ideas that you'd like, and please tell us what you want. How can we collaborate to bring something together that makes that work? Is it a space? Is it programming? Is it, I'll give my little aside quick of part of the reason why I loved your question was that when I was working in Seattle, way back in the day, I started an environmental club with the YMCA of Greater Seattle. And when I was in high school. And so over the course of time, that we were in grunge years and things kind of expanded and whatnot, but we ended up bringing together a group of people that opened up KTUB, which is the Kirkland Teen Union building. And it started essentially as a little one room, area for kids to just go sit at. They had a couch, they had a TV, there was zero judgment. They could come and go as they needed to. It was great. That is now a large building and is very, very well known, especially by the Y and those who are familiar with Y. And they now have a coffee shop run by the youth, and they have a recording studio, and they have a drum setup, and they have all these things, and the youth are running it and actively involved in it. And so that doesn't have to be my vision, but it's something, I see kids coming together and saying, this is really what we want. We just didn't think it was possible. How do we get there? So I hope that answers that. I'm right there.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think the middle school is important for laying the groundwork, but then you got to give them something to do.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know what the answer is yet, other than what do they want?
Street race, where I grew up, but I don't really recommend that either.
Don't. Mr. Peterson
you.
and Mr. Jessup have their hands up.
Okay, I'll be fast. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I guess I will say, it'll be interesting to see what your stats look like as you pull those numbers through the pandemic years. Everything that I'm seeing and reading, the kids is not so much what can we do on a Saturday night for activity, it's more with the isolationism that has happened with not able to go to school, not to be involved in, some of the, with their friends and whatnot, and some rather dramatic increases. I don't know about our community, but I'm guessing we may mirror a rather dramatic uptick in alcohol and drug abuse during this period. And I think this program, I fully support this, and I think this is what we've got to be doing to maybe blunt that.
Yeah.
But I would be surprised if your numbers do not see a reversal.
You are not alone. We all think it's going to be really high. And for whatever reason, it's kind of like my unemployment versus jobs that are available thing. It's everything that's out there says our numbers have decreased. And yet, anecdotally, everyone I've spoken to says that's not true. It looks like people are more isolated. There's also a lot of things that aren't being reported, and there's a lot more alcohol and marijuana being purchased. But it'll be interesting to see what exactly comes out of all of that.
Yeah. Anyway, observation.
Thank you.
Mr. Jessup.
Thank you very much for your program. I'm familiar with Trilogies. The main office is next to my classroom, actually. At college. So I'm very familiar. So thank you for your work. I know you said that you're kind of newer in the position and you're thinking about it on your way home from work today. Have you already had a chance to reach out to like the Youth Advisory Board or Principal Aguilar or Bryant at College Place High School, or even our health teachers and that kind of stuff? I don't know if you've had a chance to reach out.
Yes and no. I have been in contact with a few people, but not a bunch. Mostly Ambra and Lucinda, and then goodness is a professional. So, but the long and short is no, I have not. And part of that was just trying to get everything kind of up and going. And now it's summertime. So I have some connection. I don't have a ton, but I have people to connect with. And now I feel like I was telling our state manager today, I'm like, this week I finally get to do things. It's no more about the paperwork and the planning. Now it's I actually get to make the connections and actually do the work. So to answer your question, yes and no. And I will absolutely be getting a hold of them.
No, that's wonderful. I just appreciate the program, just making sure you got connected and you're
Thank
supported
you.
there.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments?
Ms. Colwell, that's right.
Oh, Ms. Colwell, I think your hand is up.
Thank you. I'm sorry that I'm interrupting everyone, but I just want to let Courtney know that you're speaking my language. I was fortunate enough to be a co-author for a drug-free communities grant.
Wow.
And so I have done, stand it out in the rain, doing healthy youth surveys. So if you need a warm body,
Thank you.
I'm super excited. I knew exactly what that color chart meant. And I would like to help you. I'm the attorney for the city. That's kind of my role
Oh,
here.
wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, I would always love help. And yeah, but that strategic plan finally just got really checked off my list on Monday. So it's taken a while to get there. But thank you all very much. We are definitely here to collaborate and partner with the city. So when it gets to Healthy Youth Survey later on, I'll give the school a shake of my fist, but we'll deal with that one later. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Anyone else?
One last question. I don't remember everybody that was on the list. How are you working with the libraries? Because they do a lot of that same sort of providing.
No, we are not. I have spoken to one lady who works at the library about collaborating and doing things in the library. So I don't have a direct contact, but she is on my list to reconnect with. No, we have not started actively working in there at all. I know it's Joanna. I don't know if that's a familiar name to anyone.
That's one of the interim contacts. They're in transition right
Yeah.
now.
Gotcha.
One of our dreams is a joint library community center somewhere in College Place that would do a
Fantastic.
lot of what you're talking about. So
I like that idea. Yes. Fantastic. We should definitely connect.
Mike's your guy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. I haven't seen you in forever.
Coalition board.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Fuller. We
Thank you
appreciate
so
your-
much.
Oh, yeah. All right. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Okay, next we have the state of the city, and I'm gonna kind of zoom through it in the interest of time, but I do want to thank Mike for helping me put this together. It's that time of the year again. All right, so I think things that we're gonna be sharing is not gonna be anything really new, but it's nice to see it all wrapped up in a pretty bow. So let's go ahead and go to slide number 2, Lisa. So just a recap of our 2017 to 2026 strategic plan, which there's a link on our website where you can look at it more thoroughly, but we have the 5 themes: the resource development, cooperation and connection, infrastructure investment, planning for prosperity, and optimal operations. It's reviewed every 2 years between April and July prior to the start of the budget season. So that'll probably be coming up. Next is we've adopted our fiscal year for 2022 budget. Revenues and expenditures, just under $54 million. And you can see there what kind of expenses we have and what kind of categories we have. I really like this property tax breakdown bill because it really helps, I think, taxpayers see where their money's going towards and helps them better understand why some places or some things can't get done and others can, but it's always an investment in your community. So I think it's really helpful for somebody to see that. Next is key city service statistics for 2020 to 2021. taking a look at the numbers, our fire and EMS runs went up from 2020 to 2021, as we all know, which is why we, Chief Winter really needed that additional help in getting those additional firefighters in. Service calls actually went down from 2020 to 2021, but that's probably the opposite. So for fire and for police is probably because of COVID. They kind of switched places, and so service calls went down there. Water production has gone up from 2020 to 2021 to 479.0. Wastewater processing, millions gallons. So we from 2020 to 2021, we've gone up over, well, almost 100 points, up to 316.0. So there's obviously growth there happening. Permits, our permit activity went down from 2020, we had 20, and 2021, we only had 18, but again, COVID played a lot of role in some of these things getting delayed, or businesses pulling back from what they were planning on. Single family resident dwelling units, 2020, we had 22, and in 21, it went up to 29, so that's positive for housing. ADUs didn't get that much activity in 2021, so hopefully we'll see a change of that in 2022. And year to date for 2021, all permits did have a positive number of 554, excuse me, for a total valuation of $38 million. So that's good progress for the city. I'm not going to read every single word on this slide. But organizational recovery from COVID. So you recall we did have the city declared emergency declaration in March 2020, and it was renewed in June 2020 to give us some time and to be able to collect some federal fundings and to be able to help our community through the COVID pandemic. We did partner with Walla Walla County Emergency Management, and we handed out the free masks, hand sanitizers. And those were very successful. We had a number of people take advantage of that. We had our first year of Blue Zones, the Walla Walla Valley Blue Zones, which has been quite successful. And then we did receive $2.6 million in the American Rescue Plan Act, so ARPA funds. And we use those in a variety of infrastructure projects, as you can see there. Organizational recovery from COVID-19. So we worked to think out of the box on how to still have some community events through the COVID-19 world, which we continue to do. Our farmers market, it did take a lot of work, but thanks to our team, they were able to get it up and running and provide some safety and health measures for the shoppers. We had movies at the park. I got to plant a tree for Arbor Day, and we lit up the avenue still on Christmas, so that was quite fun. So 2021, again, this is a lot on there, but we did have some great resource development. We did maintain our businesses through COVID. We did not lose one small business, which is a big deal, which is something we are very proud of, that we were able to help our businesses through that. We did get going with that Catalyst incentive. We're doing, we have business development, Goodwill, it's just going to be almost open. I'm sure you've all seen that going up. We were quite excited about that. The little store on the College Avenue turned into a Circle K. Housing development, so Hayden Homes is now in their final stage, Mike, is that what they've gone into the final stage? Whispering Creek, they added some housing there. And then we have a number of grants to help with more infrastructure and public works projects that we have. The cooperation and connection section. So again, the farmers market, movies in the park, our Arbor Day. So we did again be able to have some community events and still have social distancing. We are working with some HOAs to convert them into a public program. Let's see, let's take a look. So we did have our, well, we didn't have our Freedom Festival, because that wasn't but of COVID, but that was for extreme heat. If you all recall that we couldn't do that. But this year we're looking forward to it. Lions Club had their fishing derby. We do have our library, so that's pretty exciting. And Bird Scooter seems to be a welcomed addition to the city. Next is our infrastructure investment. There's a number of investments that we're doing. Our trunk line, we've added sidewalks, resurfaced roads, storm replacement projects. We updated our gun range. It's now a regional police gun range for our law enforcement officers. And Highland Park water line replacement, which that was a pretty big project, and I am thankful because that's my neighborhood too. And we're wrapping up the final engineering on our wastewater treatment plant. Planning for prosperity, the development code revision. So you remember we did some work on affordable housing protection, including manufactured housing parks, which is a huge resource for senior living on fixed income. We do have 6-year investment plans. Again, we're going to, with our Walla Walla Valley Through Zones collaboration, we're going to year 2. And we're working on some legislative advocacy, both on the state and federal level. Our optimal operations. So police department got accredited. Again, that was something that was quite a coup for our police department. It takes a lot of work to get there, and they, we celebrate it, but it really did take the police department and Chief Damaris and his team a lot of work to get there, and they rose up and they took care of that, and they're an excellent police department, and so that really reflects on their work there. We have interlocal agreement funds in place to replace outdated fire training tower, which I think that they just had a open house on that, right? So that's up and running. Wildland fire assistance, and then we have an all-inclusive wastewater treatment plant contract with Jacob. So that's takes that heavy burden off the city. We did have some changeover in city council. We had some members retire. Mr. Jerry Bobbitt, he was council position 1, and Ms. Marge Nyhagen, council position number 3 after 24 years, I believe it was. And Byron Trope, council member number 7, who moved out of the area, but still appreciates everything that's being done here. 3 new members. We had Paul Jessup, council position number 1, TJ Espinosa in council position number 3, and Monica Boyle got reelected and into position council number 7, or got elected into council position number 7. Resource development, I think I have to enlarge that by 300. But we did get, I'm just going to kind of go, we did get all those little things, those are all grants. They're all grants, and mostly for infrastructure and community safety programs here. So that's quite helpful to the city. It really helps us move forward, and again, saves the taxpayers money. And I say it saves the money, but the reality is we probably wouldn't have the money to invest in these projects because there's only so much taxpayers can pay. So it really helps those grants beautify and increase the livability of our city. We have our community garden. We do have some business development. Hot Mama's Coffee is getting ready to open up. We're still working on that building, the medical facility. And then again, we continue with housing development. We do have right now 4 still on the books active new development projects coming in to provide housing in College Place. Cooperation, community events. Same community events again, but that does, again, takes a lot of work and cooperation between the staff to get that up and running in the community. We do have youth recreation partnerships with United Way, Sunbridge, Campfire, and College Place Public Schools that are happening right now. Some of those programs filled quite fast as soon as they started taking applications for them. So clearly it's a needed resource here in our community for our families. We have our 75th anniversary book to be published. That's still coming up, and our library is planning for a headquarters facility, the rural library system. We have some active advisory boards who were dedicated through COVID, so we do appreciate that, and we continue with communication methods. Infrastructure. So we're wrapping up our drinking water well number 6, wrapping up final engineering for Lions Park upgrade. We believe it should start breaking ground this fall to start getting going. So that'll be something different for next summer. We have a new little parklet, Perseverance Park. That is, the trees are finally blooming this year. So it's going to be nice to see them as they grow, provide some shade. And then, as you can see, we've done some sidewalks, we've done some lighting enhancements for safety. Women in Maple, there's a solar array that's going to be going up, and most recently our Women in Larch four-way stop sign, which have nothing but positive feedback on that. So that's tells us how much our community appreciates their safe roads. And then we've completed the Southwood Majonia Road engineering. So the planning for prosperity part, let me make my screen smaller again. We've done some development code updates, so it's aimed at simplifying zoning for residential development. And we're providing some incentives to come to College Place and help us grow. We are looking into the tax, we've approved the tax increment financing to try to attract some businesses over here and help them through the tax burden of and save them money to come and get the business going up here. We're looking at broadband, citywide broadband projects. We're in a community land trust. And then we're just continuing to simplify the municipal code. It's very time consuming, and again, thankful for the staff that works on that, but we are working towards it in order to help it make it easier and more attractive to be in College Place home. Optimal operations. Our ambulance utility started in July, so that's up and running. That helps provide us 4 additional firefighters, which was much needed in this community. Let's see, we have urban forestry master planning, state grant help with that, local road maintenance strategy, and we have a final water wastewater system master plan. And it's not sexy, but we sure do need that water and wastewater plan in place, because as a city, if it wasn't there, we would know it for sure. And then we have an ADA transition plan. So we do have a few challenges going forward. Our stormwater system still needs to continue to have some upgrades to get operational system permits on that. Our wastewater system, we've continued, there's next phases that might need to be coming up that we need to start looking at. Street reconstruction. So we've been fortunate in getting state grant assistance to reconstruct arterial roads, but we still have residential roads that need upgrading. So how to get that done is something we need to consider. There's no funding at all in place for those. And declining gas tax, while it's great that we're not driving as much, it does reduce our revenue for road repairs. So that is an issue for us. Right now, local roads that are not arterial, so our residential, they're funded through reconstruction for every 250 years. Clearly, that's not reasonable. So that continues to be a major problem for the city. We are growing. I think our final numbers was 80. Is that what our final number was? 80 more?
Yeah, it ended up being about 9,890.
Okay.
So we're just shy of 10,000.
Right. So we're moving that direction. All right. I kind of got through that one. This is on Board Docs, and you can take a look at it. And is it also on our website?
Yeah.
It will be on our website to take a closer look at the more details if you like. Do we have any questions or comments for me or for Mike on some of these?
This is a little bit egotistic, so I'm sorry, but slide number 14, I'd be more than happy to send you an updated photo. Without me looking down at the paper photo, you looking down at the Zoom call, I'd be more than happy to send one over.
She's like,
I'm like, what's going on?
That was a picture that UB used.
Yeah, right.
At the post office.
Yeah, exactly.
so no, get a better picture over to the 2 mics.
Thank you for going through that.
Thanks for drawing attention to it.
Funny. Anyone else?
I have a comment and a question. I am at a loss for words at how amazing you as mayor and Mike as administrator and all the staff have pulled together and got us through COVID. I mean, we are in so much of a better place than almost every place else I know. I mean, not losing any small businesses, I mean, that's unheard of. Nobody did that.
Right.
You know, so I'm sorry, I just, thank you.
Thank you.
Is all I can say.
It was amazing work. It really was.
And the question that I have is, do we know yet if the construction at Lions Park is likely to make us have to move the farmer's market?
For next year, it likely is going to because of the intensity of, especially now we have the electrical grant that's gonna install
Right.
the electrical for the farmers market. That part's gonna be really ripped up, spring and summer, so likely we're probably gonna have to relocate to another location just for next year. So it gets done in a timely manner.
I was afraid of that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a great location. But
Well, and it'll be better once it's done with
Yeah.
all the electrical and everything, but it's just gonna be a difficult year.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that we're talking about relocating, not postponing for a year, skipping a year.
You know, I kind of glossed over it, but it was an immense amount of work that the staff had to do for last year to get the farmers market during COVID, and have the health department approve it and make sure that safety standards were kept up between shoppers and the vendors. And I think coming in, it all looked like it was so smooth, right? Because we just come in, we shop, everybody's smiling, and you know, we leave. But I do want us to make sure that we acknowledge the amount of work that it took the staff to keep that going, not just to get it going. I mean, who thought you would have to buy portable sinks, right? And figure out how to get water pumped up to them. And it was a lot of work. So thank you all.
And thanks to Carolyn, who's no longer here, because she did a lot of that in 2020. So.
And you know, that's part of getting us through COVID, right? You
Yeah.
know, we supported small businesses through the farmers market as well, gave them another opportunity to, while they can't, maybe some places can't have their doors open, they can at least come there and still do some business.
I read something, it was actually in a novel, but it just stuck with me a long time ago. That said, nothing so smooth ever happened without a whole lot of hard work beforehand.
Yes, and no true words in the farmer's market. It was amazing. And then just, like I said, we just show up and it looks like it was all easy sweezy. Thank you.
It's a piece of cake.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to me.
Thank you for that.
Let's move on then. Thank you. Public hearings, and we don't have any tonight, so let's move on to our action items. The first action item is our Downtown Catalyst Incentive Program tweak by Mr. Rizzatello.
Yes, so this ordinance was adopted by you all 2 years ago. We are proposing a tweak to the code. We had in there that in order to get the incentive, you needed to do mixed use with commercial and the residential. What we are starting to find in the development community is we have such weird shaped parcels along College Avenue that in order to accommodate both and parking, it mathematically does not add up at all. And right now there is a project that really wants to go kitty corner from the Circle Case on the vacant property at 8th and College. And to be frank, they've made pretty clear that if we didn't change it, they likely couldn't move forward with the project. This project, should we adopt this, they go to fruition and they go through the grading and then you all approve granting the incentive to them, would actually, it'd be roughly a 3-story like apartment complex with parking and other things. And part of our issue within businesses on College Avenue is you basically need, I would say, like a set population to have live work along College Avenue. And right now, when the university lets out in the evening, I mean, I bike it every night, like at 9:30 and 10, and it's a ghost town. And then that leads to not having the businesses. So even though this is a little bit counterintuitive to how it was originally proposed 2 years ago, I think the proof is in the pudding that we need to change it where it can either be commercial or the residential. So that is the tweak. We had a joint meeting with the Economic Development Commission and the Planning Commission. They saw this needed to change, so it was recommended that the tweak be approved by the city council. So therefore, that is what is in front of you.
All right, let's go through council members for any questions or comments, and we'll begin with Mr. Jessup.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mr. Cleveland,
No questions. Looks good.
Mr. Peterson,
No questions.
Ms. Williams.
Just to double check, it's still gonna be and/or, right? So
Yeah.
they can still qualify if they're both.
They could still qualify if they have both, but you can also get it if you just have the one, because right now we're just at a standstill.
Yeah, I just wanted to double
Yeah.
check.
I really love the projects of the commercial and residential, but right now, we cannot afford to turn any residential over,
Exactly.
right? So I think that is just a significant benefit to the community as the original thought of having some commercial space. Thank you. All right, let's take a look. Okay. All right, so this is an action item. Do we have a motion on changing this, on adopting the ordinance?
Councilmember Jessup, I'll motion to adopt order number 22-012, amending College Place Municipal Code 3.50 downtown catalyst incentive program.
I'll second Councilmember Cleveland.
Beat you to it. Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
All right, that means no one opposed, so the motion is passed. The next item is the Transportation Improvement Board, or the TIB, Urban Aerial Grant Program for South of Majania Road from College to, say that.
Blueview. It's a private driveway, it has a name, it's.
Oh, I've never seen that. but-
Yeah.
Board resolution, and Mike, you're gonna present on
Yeah.
that as well?
Yeah, so this meeting, there's the one grant application. I will caution as we get in the second meeting in July. That's gonna be a very long council meeting because there's a litany of these that are all gonna hit the fan in August. But this is the one we have to get in first. So Majania Road, as you all may recall, the engineering of that is funded through the Metropolitan Planning Organization. We did put in a request to have all of it covered as a federal earmark. However, when the federal infrastructure bill passed, they basically cut the earmarks to about 33.3% of what the request was. So we requested a little over 4 million. You shave it off by 33%, ends up being roughly about 1.3 million. So that basically leaves a gap right there of around 2.7 million. So this is our attempt to fill that gap with other people's money, essentially. So that's what the resolution is for, the engineering. That's gonna be coming before you at one of the next meetings so we can award that contract. Because just to let you all know about the corridor in general, Craig Christensen's property, which is the 200 acres furthest west, the deal closed on that. So there is a very large residential developer and they're called Lakeside. They're out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. They have purchased it. It's a done deal. So that will be a litany of single family homes all through there. So we really need to get ahead of the Skilling Majania Road to where it's actually a urban type road. So that's what this is for.
Council members, Mr. Jessup, questions or comment?
Not at the moment, thank you.
Mr. Cleveland,
No questions.
Mr. Peterson,
No questions, thank you.
Ms. Williams?
No questions, thank you.
Well, that housing is a development is a double-edged sword because I love the view off of John Muir, but I do not like people not being able to get homes. More. All right then, so is there a motion on this?
Councilmember Williams, I will move to adopt resolution number 22-053, which is a resolution of support for Transportation Improvement Board Urban Arterial Program Grant Application for Southwest Majania Road, College to Blueview.
Second, Peterson?
Any additional discussion?
I think we need to make the names of these grants just a little bit longer.
All right, all in favor of the motion, not of making them longer, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The motion is passed. Next item is the Reservoir 4 agreement for professional services. Mr. McAndrews, welcome. You're up.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. So the city was previously awarded a low interest loan from the Public Works Board for $350,000 for pre-design of the new water reservoir. It'll ultimately go on the bluff near the police gun range and the wastewater treatment plant. So we went out to advertisement and put out requests for statements of qualifications. We got two proposals, one from JUB Engineers and one from RH2 Engineering. After reviewing them, JUB Engineers was selected as the most qualified firm. They put together a scope for 30% design for the tank and the transmission line. And so at this point, the proposals for $266,300, which includes project management, data collection, permitting, engineering reports, and then the 30% design. Yeah, so any questions?
Mr. Jessup? Any questions?
Not at the moment, thank you.
Mr. Cleveland?
No questions.
Mr. Peterson?
Can you talk a little bit more about what Reservoir 4 is?
Reservoir 4 will be an above ground water tank, about 500,000 gallons. It'll give us additional storage capacity. It'll be up on the bluff to provide sufficient pressure for the surrounding areas. Will help us with future development out towards Martin Airfield, help with future development down kind of the southwest area of town where that Mike was just talking about, and will just give us additional capacity.
So this is design.
This is designed because this has been the CFP for the last 6 years.
But no funding for.
As of right now, no. The plan is to next session to try again appropriation for the construction, but they won't give that until we have the engineering. So that's what we need to get that done. And plus, we've had discussions with developers, including one this morning, where I mean, really stuff that's going to be going on west of town is going to be contingent and trying to get ahead of the 8 ball on this. And I would mention, it's not going to just serve the new development. There are some weak water pressure zones out by the Homestead development in certain areas west of College Avenue. So that's going to help back up all of that.
Thank you.
Ms. Williams?
You covered it. I couldn't remember where it was.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments? All right. If seeing none, is there a motion?
I move to approve agreement for professional services with JUB Engineers for 30% design of Reservoir 4 and authorize Public Works Director to sign agreement.
Second, Councilmember Williams.
Any additional discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, unanimous, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Next is the well number 6 telemetry, and Mr. McAndrews, you're still going to discuss?
Yep. So back in 2017, the city awarded RH2 Engineering with contract to repair or relocate 2 city wells. The result of that ended up with well 4, which has already been built out on Peppers Bridge Road, and then well 6 being drilled and now being under construction for the well house. That was awarded to Nelson Construction late in 2021. Part of the well 6 construction contract was that the city would purchase and supply programmable controls to the contractor for installation. So back when the original contract with RH2 didn't include purchasing the controls. So now we're at the point where we need to get those controls and supply them to Nelson. It's important that the city supply those to ensure continuity between the 2 wells so that we have the same controls and programming at both wells instead of city staff having to learn multiple systems. So RH2 got a proposal from Control Systems Northwest for a work order for $42,771 to build the controls to the exact same specifications as well 4. And again, using the same control will let things operate in the same way that they are to do at well 4. So if the work order is approved as quickly as possible, then they'll be able to get materials ordered and is less likely to delay the construction of well 6 any further. Any questions?
Mr. Jessup,
No, thank you for the work.
Mr. Cleveland,
Yeah, our other wells, do they already have similar control panels as well, or are they kind of different as well? Have we considered upgrading those so that there's more continuity between our different wells?
Yes, so other wells have various controls. As part of this, this will make well 4 and 6 the same. We, as you may or may not remember, we have engineering out for a well 7, which would be ultimately down by the new lift station in the southwest area. The idea would be that that would utilize the same controls, and then well 3 is very similar. So we are trying to standardize everything so we have the same system everywhere.
Thank you.
Mr. Peterson,
Of course.
Ms. Williams.
Could you just, so which of our wells have we abandoned? Or which ones are gonna be
Well
working?
1 is abandoned, essentially. It's non-functional. Well 2 has some issues. It's fully functional and provides safe, clean water, but the well casing itself has been slowly over time rising. It's a very strange situation, but as it rises a little bit at a time, that makes the whole pipe train kind of off kilter. We've had to put in shims and adjustments to keep that in place and keep it so nothing breaks. And so ultimately, we will continue to monitor that, but in a perfect world, we'll get well 6 up and running, and then ultimately well 7, and then well 2 won't even be needed anymore.
And 3, 4, and 5 are they all original?
3, 4, we don't have a well 5. I believe well 5 is part of Consolidated Irrigation District 14. So yeah, 3 and 4 are fully, well, 3 has actually been down this last week. We've had an issue with control, so it's a timely question. It normally is our most productive well, and we've been working on getting the issue with that resolved. So
Thank you. I started to lose track of our wells. So thank you.
Especially when they renumber them.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and
We're lost.
just to add to why we need the new well even past number 6, so the well 3, luckily we stayed on top of it, so we didn't have to like know this or anything. But the good well that was carrying us through when the other ones were on the fritz, it stopped working last week, and it has like a board issue they're trying to get new parts for. So yeah, it just keeps.
It's always
hitting us.
something.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll get up and going, but that just shows like when I've heard occasionally a community, oh, well, you've had 3, they were broke, now you're up to 3, why you need a 4th one? Well, with the population increase and the good well breaking down, that pretty much shows exactly why, so.
This is just like, I'm just laughing because it's sort of, I tell my students about how sometimes you want to order parts and things yourself rather than putting it in the contract when we're talking about contracts and specs. And then I talk about in everything, why we need so much redundancy, and no, 2 are not enough. 2 is not enough. Never. So this just sort of sums it all up perfectly.
Absolutely.
And Mike Wells, what, 4, 6 are relatively, and last 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
having-
6 isn't operational yet, that's the
Right.
one we're trying to wrap up with this. Now, well 4 was the one that replaced well 1, and that's out of Pepper's Bridge. And now, we do get a decent supply of water, but it was not what we were hoping for, which is why, because well number 2, I'm far thrilled about using that to pump, because considering we have like a Jenga tower of shims holding it together, it does nerve me a bit. We did get a new valve where we can cut it off should something happen, because if any, well, I know I took you, Paul, out to it, but just for those that haven't seen it, well number 2 is like in an alleyway, like in someone's backyard, like in a.
Marge as well.
Yeah, it's Marge's well. And it's basically in a backyard in an alley. So I mean, if that check valve, once we install it, it'll provide some redundancy. But I mean, if that thing were to blow, that'd be very bad because it's basically in someone's backyard. So that's the need why we need the replacement wells, because as soon as 6 is up, and I would say when 7 is up, the recommendation of you all is going to be abandon that thing ASAP. So.
Or it's carried us through.
Put a bucket in a robe.
Right, a bucket and a rope.
Well, yeah, that well off of 4th Street, that actually predates the city. So that was actually drilled by the well company prior to the city.
Wow.
And it's still pumping, getting
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
All right. So are there any additional questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion?
Councilmember Williams, I move to authorize the city administrator to sign the work order for well number 6 telemetry panel.
Second, Councilmember Cleveland.
First and second, anything else, additional discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
I
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. All right, moving right along. So the next item is a cancellation of July 5th and August 2nd council workshops. Mr. Rizzatello, you want to?
Yeah.
Give us a spiel?
Well, yeah, I mean, as far as next week, I'm camping at Mount Rainier, so that's a big reason why. And then as far as the August one goes, a couple of things there. Day after, I'm actually on a second one reception in Chicago, but day prior to that, my wife and I finally did find a house here in College Place. Took forever, but we found it. The offer's been accepted, so we'll be moving from, 2 moves, her house from Kennewick and mine over here to it. So, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So we'll be preoccupied with that, plus then as we get the keys the next day, having to go to Chicago on top of that, so, yeah.
Actually cool.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Well, Paul would know that this is, Felicia and I talked about that. That's like the curse when you're in teaching or you don't get like other days off besides the summer.
Yeah.
Because August is the worst time to go to Illinois because it's really humid.
It's humid, yeah.
But we're gonna have to put up with it. So, yeah.
It's not like you can dunk yourself to that lake very.
Right.
And come out there clean.
With the stuff that's in Lake Michigan over there, no thanks.
Get your shots.
Yeah. All right, so any questions or comments regarding canceling either July 5th and August 2nd council workshops? Okay, if there's no further discussion, do we have a motion?
I'll motion to cancel both.
Go ahead.
Motion to cancel both the July 5th, 2022 and the August 2nd, 2022 council workshops. Councilmember Jessen.
I'll second. Councilmember Cleveland.
Ms. Button's done.
All right. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, the ayes have it, the motion is passed. Let's take a look. We do not have any administrative reports tonight. And we do have a pavement rating report, Mr. Vitello. Am I looking at the right one? I am.
Well, the pavement ring one, that'll just be it. What was that from?
Mike's not presenting. That's just, okay.
That'll be coming up at the long meeting I mentioned. the
Okay,
next
that's been
one.
moved.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so there's one informational report in this packet, so please take a look at it when you have a chance, if you haven't already. No executive session, so moving right along. Is there any other business for good of the order?
I just want to make everybody aware, Freedom Festival is Sunday. Come, enjoy, 6 p.m., College Place High School. Shank's Pony is the band. You will have food trucks. The College Place Cheer is taking care of a kid zone, so bring the kids.
To get in from parking, is that before the road construction is, or?
We are hoping, correct me if I'm wrong, Robert. We're
The road
hoping,
will be open at least one direction. I have a meeting with the contractor tomorrow. I have made it clear to them that at least one direction needs to be open. It'll be off of College Avenue onto Cedar Bend. But once I meet with them tomorrow, I'll have full confirmation on exactly what their plan is.
Perfect, thank
so
you.
from Lamperty to Cedar Bend and then onto College Avenue,
Okay,
or from the highway.
Was there a leak there?
So it isn't a leak of settlement issues. So as you all may recall, they removed the old lift station. They put the Southwest sewer in. Unfortunately, after the Apollo repaved the whole thing, there was severe cracking and settlement between Cedar Bend and Majanier. So as part of the remedy, they basically had to dig it up again, unearth it about 5 feet because of the fill had issues apparently. And then they basically are putting in new fill and then like a geofabric to stabilize it. And they're just waiting for a while, make sure this thing doesn't settle anymore because we don't want to have to redo it again. And then get this thing solved before school starts. So that's what we're trying to do here.
Was that, who paid for this?
It's basically a combination of Apollo and then some USDA funds as
Okay.
well, because there was some culpability on their side. However, there was some stuff that I would say goes well outside of that.
Right,
So
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
but we're trying to get it right because I mean, I don't know if anyone knows when I rode down my bike. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm definitely
something was
got
happening.
some here.
Yeah.
a brand new road.
Totally. Is there any update or thought or plans for the next joint city council meeting?
We haven't heard, I haven't heard from them, have you?
They're gonna get back to us, to my knowledge, it was gonna be in later August. The
Later
the
August,
date's
next
escaping me, but it was gonna be in August.
Yeah, I know Walla Walla was really grateful to have you, so.
Yeah. And then speaking of the collaboration, it was on our social media, but both cities did get a municipal excellence award for all the Blue Zone related work. So we end up getting, both of us got awards for that. So we'll have a placard that's in the mail we can like hang up for that.
And Mike was in Vancouver, right? That's
Vancouver.
Vancouver last week to receive that award at the Association of Washington Cities Conference.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, do we have a motion to conclude the meeting?
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Cleveland.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. If there's no objection, the meeting is concluded at 8:15 PM. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks.
You are-